give it a few seconds for people to register. Let's get a few watchers first. Okay, I want to welcome everybody to our Mount Carmel mayoral meet and greet, our virtual meet and greet. We have 3 of our 5 candidates here. First, we want to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves, then we'll go through our questions. And while this is going on, we want to invite people who are watching on Facebook to message in questions for the candidates to answer once their first 5 questions have been completed. And I want to remind everybody, if you saw in the article that was in the paper, these have to be general questions, non-specific to any candidate, that any candidate would be able to answer, and then they'll have the choice whether or not to answer it if they choose. Emily Wood is going to be going through those questions as they come in, and she'll be picking them out. And Emily is also going to read our questions. First, I'd like to give each of the 3 candidates who showed up an opportunity to introduce themselves. They drew numbers on their way in to determine who would go first. So, who's going to go first?
I'm Jennifer Williams.
Okay.
I'm John Gibson.
Okay.
I'm Pat Stillwell.
All right. And now we have 5 questions, and we're going to have each candidate answer each question. And we'll let Emily go ahead and read the question off.
Okay, so we'll start with Ms. Williams. What made you decide to seek this office?
I am the current mayor, and I wanted to continue the work that I'm doing for Mount Carmel, for the citizens and employees. I have a history of service. I have been a public health nurse for over 30 years, so I'm used to doing service to the community, and this was just natural for me then to get into politics and try to do service to my local community.
Okay.
Mr. Gibson,
Yes, ma'am.
what made you decide to seek this office?
So I decided to run for this office after kind of seeing the state of affairs that Mount Carmel's been for the last 8 years. Decided that if we're going to continue to have our daughter and raise a family here, then I want to do my part to try to make things better. Too many times I've heard people promise things and under-deliver, and so that's one thing that I kind of want to lay out a plan about my ideas of where I think we can go forward and what we need to do to try to get there. And I also believe that there's been a lack of kind of transparency with the bill to find information, and that's something that I really want to do to make a difference, to change the way that is.
Thank you. Ms. Stillwell, what made you decide to seek this office?
Well, I want to bring Mount Carmel's good name back for one thing. I think we've got a pretty good board now, and the ones that are running now, I think that we've got some good people to choose from. I am your vice mayor right now, and we just don't need the chaos that we have had for the last 8 to 10 years. And that's why we need to really work together as a board and not be separated, because together we stand, divided we fall. And so, and I'm one that does not like the careless spending, and so we've stopped a lot of that this year. And if you have something estimated to do a job, you don't go over $17,000 to after that has been estimated and the board has agreed on that price, but yet you would go ahead and do it like we have had done in the past with a mayor. Our last 2 mayors, they just harassed our mayors, and some of our aldermen have harassed our workers. Our workers need to feel safe in their jobs, and right now they're at turmoil as far as worrying who is going to get elected, and it shouldn't be. They should be happy with the job that they have and what they're doing. And we have some fine workers, and so I will fight for our citizens, for our tax money to not be wasted. Because I'm a senior and I can't afford my tax money to be wasted. We can't buy groceries, much less go up on taxes. And so that's for the young people, the seniors, the middle-aged, and the children. We would need to take care of all of our not employees, well, we need to take care of them too, but all of our citizens. And I just think that they just have been in a lot of turmoil and harassed so that they will quit their jobs. And so, like in the past, before we got on here these 2 years, we've had a lot of employees that's been harassed and quit. And that's just not right. Just not right. So I just want to have a good relationship with our employees and our citizens.
Okay. Before we move on to the second question, which Mr. Gibson will start, there's been some questions on Facebook about the other two candidates. Mr. Frost, Larry Frost, who's also running for mayor, he replied back to the invitation and said he had a prior engagement. And from what I've heard from city officials, we haven't heard from Ms. Carrico. So just want to answer that question for the people who are watching.
All right, the second question will start with Mr. Gibson. What is your educational and employment background, as well as any previous experience in political office, and any other qualifications or experience that might serve you well in this office?
So I graduated from Sullivan Central High School, and then I attended UT Chattanooga, and later transferred to ETSU, majoring in business administration. Currently, I work as a senior technical advisor for Apple, and I have previous experience in personnel management, sales, and account management. I believe that those combined experiences kind of give me a unique opportunity to serve the town, and every day my job is solving problems. Working in the field of computer technology has taught me that you always have to be flexible and keep learning. Everything changes, you have to stay learning. And that listening is the most important to those problem-solving skills, hearing what the problem is so that you can make an informed decision. And I believe those combined experiences would help me do a better job to lead the town.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Stillwell, what is your educational and employment background, as well as any previous experience in political office and other qualifications that might serve you well in this office?
Well, I went to ETSU and I had to go to UT to take classes and Mountain Empire for my deaf education. And I retired from Hawkins County School, where I interpreted to the deaf students there and taught them, as well as I taught sign language to the hearing students. And I have gone to Hawkins County courts to interpret for deaf people. I've gone to the lawyers. I have gone into the hospitals and just different places. I've gone to the senior citizens not long ago down in Church Hill. They called me and they needed me there. The senior citizen, the senior director then, I have taught several of them in the sign language class so that they can interpret, so that they can communicate with the deaf people. I coached basketball when I was at Churchill Middle School, and I had a winning team, so I know how to coach and I know how to get things done I'm a planner. If I need, before we get our meetings on our Thursday night meetings, I go right into that office. If I need something, we get the agenda beforehand, Monday before we have the meeting on Thursday. I go into the office and I'll say to all the girls in the office, I need such and such. And so I search it out before I vote. I'm not going to vote just because Alderman such and such wants to vote or they want to just do the wrong thing. And so, and I have also been an interpreter at the First Baptist Church for several years, until the virus hit, of course, and then that's put a little stop on all of us. And I have a very successful internet business. I sell rubber stamps and scrapbook supplies, and thanks to the Board of Mayor and Alderman, they voted me in as vice mayor a few months ago, and I feel like I've accomplished several things in the past 2 years since I have been. I don't care to stand up and say no. You know, this is not good for all of our citizens. And so, we had a very good audit this year, and thanks to Mike Housewright and Tammy for a good job for doing their bookkeeping and knowing where the tax money's going. And we have awful good leaders in our workforce too. Right there sitting one too. Anyway, but we just need to praise them more than just going out after them so that they'll quit their jobs and stuff. And like I said, they are worried right now, and they shouldn't be.
Okay. Ms. Williams, what is your educational and employment background, as well as any previous experience in political office and other qualifications or experience that might serve you well in this office?
I graduated from Churchill High School. I graduated from Berea College with a BS degree in nursing. I graduated from Vanderbilt with a master's degree in nursing. I worked in public health mainly as a family nurse practitioner and also director of communicable disease for over 20 years at Sullivan County Regional Health Department, and as a nurse practitioner for my career there was around 38 years. So I've had lots of experience in communicable disease, which has helped very much with this COVID outbreak and helped people understand how that's transmitted and how things are happening and what we need to do to protect ourselves. So I've been fortunate to be able to use my nursing background in this position. Also, I've had quite a bit of leadership. Under communicable disease, I had from 9 to 12 employees that I've supervised and for over 20 years. So I've got lots of experience doing management and supervision, also grant writing. I've got experience in that. I've been on the board of mayor and alderman for 4 years. I've served as vice mayor, and I've also served as mayor for the last few months. So I have been fortunate to be able to serve the citizens and the employees of Mount Carmel.
Mr. Gibson begins with this next question.
Okay. Mr. Gibson.
Oh wait, I'm sorry.
No,
I got my math mixed up. Sorry.
it's Pat.
Mrs. Stillwell begins this question.
Okay. Mrs. Stillwell, what are the most important issues facing Mount Carmel, and what are your top priorities if elected?
Well, we need some businesses, and I know that our town, it's about the size of Pigeon Forge in land-wise. And so we've got the land out there, maybe not on Main Street because we can't build anything in the Food City building because it's in such bad shape and everything there. But I would like to see our city get some businesses in, and I think after the Dollar General comes in and people sees how busy it's going to be there, that other businesses will come in. So that's, that is really good. And talking about, and Jennifer's talking about grants, Mike Housewright just applied for a grant, and I believe it was about $80,000 he
Yes,
just got
that's
last week or this week. And not long ago, he got around $80,000 dollar grant too. So he's doing really well. And so we just need to hold spending down like we have these past 2 years, and we've done really well.
Okay. And we'll go to Mrs. Williams. What are the most important issues facing Mount Carmel, and what are your top priorities if elected?
I think the most important issue is to be able to continue the level of services that we're doing for the citizens of Mount Carmel and to improve on those, to be more efficient and be able to serve what we need to do for the citizens. I also agree that we need to cultivate businesses for Mount Carmel. We do have opening areas that we could have some businesses move in, and that will help offset taxes for the citizens. My top priorities are the employees and the citizens of Mount Carmel. I really believe in trying to do my best for them and trying to do what needs to be done as far as being a voice for them on the board of mayor and alderman. So I'd like to see economic growth, and I'd like to see some businesses, and I'd like to see our services improve and continue for our citizens.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Gibson, what are the most important issues facing Mount Carmel, and what are your top priorities if elected?
So the most important issues that I think are facing Mount Carmel is, for one, has been for the last 8 years, lack of leadership. There's been the lack of leadership kind of left a stand on reputation of the city. That's the thing that has to change. I think that has to change before you can get businesses to come in. That's one thing that I think in my opinion is hindering business from investing reputation. Of course, economic development, as already been mentioned, would be a big priority. But instead of kind of waiting for them to come to us, we're going to have to be actively recruiting these businesses. It's going to take someone to have to go out and make the connections to bring new business into the town, and possibly try to work out a deal with incentives as long as it best suits the citizens. Third thing that I think is one of the most important things is the sewer department. The estimated $1 million of spending there, that's going to be a big thing that the next board will have to face, and I think that every option should be on the table for that, and that we need to really look at the options and what the long-term plan would be. And then also, I think one other issue that's not been discussed that's a big issue is the form of government. I think that the city administrator position versus a strong mayor-style government is another big issue that still kind of continues to linger around. And I absolutely today would say that I would pledge to not necessarily keep that city manager position regardless, and stay away from the strong mayor style, so that we have someone to manage personnel issues, so that it doesn't stay at the board level. It would be handled by the administrator, and the board works to guide that person or process.
Okay, before we go on to our fourth question, I want to remind people who are watching at home, if you have any questions for the candidates, they have to be non-specific to any candidate, but general questions regarding Mount Carmel. Go ahead and send them, write them in the message section of this Facebook broadcast, and then we'll get to them after we complete the original 5 questions.
Okay, so we'll go on to the 4th question, and we will start with John Gibson this time.
I think it's Miss Williams. It's
Oh,
Miss
is
Williams.
it?
Yeah.
We're getting confused.
You know,
here. We'll just go clockwise.
math was never my strong suit.
Miss Williams, what would you like to accomplish on the Board of Mayor and Alderman in the next 4 years?
I would like to see the board work together. I would like to see us be more cohesive in developing policies and procedures. I think the board sometimes gets strayed away from working on policies and procedures and tries to do management of the employees, and that's not what the board is here for. I believe in a strong city manager to manage the employees, and I don't think we need to always be looking at the employees. We need to be looking at policies and procedures that can make the city go forward, that are for the best of the employees and the best for the citizens. So I would like to see us work together. I would like to see us develop strong policies. I would like to see us put forth a good image for Mount Carmel.
Okay, Mr. Gibson, what would you like to accomplish on the Board of Mayor and Alderman in the next 4 years?
So in the next 4 years, I would like to make sure that we always keep the budget in the black, that we're not having to dip into the reserves, and then also we do that without having to raise taxes. I think the other thing that we'd like to accomplish is kind of rebrand the image of Mount Carmel to correct the mistakes of the past and kind of move forward from that. I'd like to see growth, economic growth, and an increase in community events. Take advantage of the Main Street that we have out here to have more festivals similar to the block party, maybe a little smaller, but just have an opportunity for the community to come together. And another thing that I would like to accomplish would be more opportunities for children. I've been in contact with Mount Carmel Elementary School and spoke with the principal and said if elected or when elected that I would like to recognize some children for going above and beyond, whether that be academically or socially. But I know that the school leading the pledge has been a big deal to them. They have recorded it even with COVID so that they can still continue that tradition. And if when elected, I'd like to recognize certain students and bring them in to lead the pledge for the meeting each month, so we can give them that opportunity, but also acknowledge their hard work.
Okay. And Ms. Stillwell, what would you like to accomplish on the Board of Mayor and Alderman in the next 4 years?
Well, I'd like to bring in some developers. We've got plenty of land that we can build a senior citizen village and keep the low cost of the condos for them down, and I think that would be great because we've got all kinds of land, not right here in town, but just up and down the main streets. And I like to also, I have talked to Ollie's and been talking to Ollie's a while to try to get Ollie's here. Since I know that when I talked to them last, they said they wouldn't put 2 Ollies in one town. Well, Kingsport's got theirs on the other end, and so we're on this end, so it's a golden opportunity to get all these in here. And that's a little grocery store. Never used it. It's a real good little grocery store. And I have liked some of the things that's happened in the last few months with the park. We have had a couple of people at the park getting organized for softball, and that's brought just several hundred people into our town, even though they stayed their distance, they wore their masks and stuff. And I've been up there several times, and the people are excited to come to Mount Carmel. And so our businesses have prospered from that because of the food, the two food places we have here on Main Street, Hardee's and Dairy Cup, and then you've got the gas station where you sell some gas and they get their snacks over there. And so we know that the stores cannot go into the open city building because it's falling down. It's falling apart. I walked down there the other day and the ceiling is all the way, the top of the ceiling is it's failed. So, there's no taking over that. They just have to try to buy somebody and develop it. So, and that's what I'd like to see done is something developed in here in Mount Carmel. And but anyway, the reckless spending in the past 2 years, we have stopped. We have not. We voted against things that should have been voted against, and we voted for things that should be and stay within the budget. And like I said a while ago, our leaders in our departments are wonderful because they stay within their budget. I say, if it's not in your budget, don't ask for it. Put number one priority first before we start doing a budget. And so that's what I would like to see accomplished. More things going on in our park, like he said, for the children, and more money is coming right there. It's revenue because it's tax on those things right there.
Question number 5 is
Oh, we're
Mr.
on to
Gibson.
question number 5? Okay. All right, and we'll start with
Mr. Gibson.
Mr. Gibson. Okay. Are you the best candidate for this office? If so, why?
I definitely think that I am a good candidate for this office, or the best candidate for this office, because I think that Mount Carmel needs to kind of be rebranded. We need to get a better image, and we need to get somebody in here that can do that. And also, Mount Carmel's getting younger. There's the old mindset of it being an older community has kind of been changing. There's more families coming in, more people working Kingsport but live in Mount Carmel. And I think that we definitely need to kind of rebrand the city, to get that image back to what it once was. And if you go you drive down Main Street, there are a lot of opportunities. The town has a lot of opportunities for places that can come in, and we just need a strong leader to kind of organize that and get a plan to move us forward.
Okay. Ms. Stillwell, are you the best candidate for this office? If so, why?
Yes, I think I am the best candidate for this office. I don't care to call one out if they're doing something to one of our seniors, as far as the alderman or the mayors. And we have stopped the overspending in the past 2 years. And I've lived in Mount Carmel for 45 years, and I have a good name, and I've kept my nose straight, as my mama always says, or my nose clean. And I'm proud of our town, really. We get so much bad publicity because of what goes on, the chaos that goes on, and it's been going on 8 to 10 years. It's time to stop. It's time to work together and bring our good name back. And we have some wonderful citizens in Mount Carmel. And I don't want to say that I'm embarrassed by living in Mount Carmel, because I'm not. I know that we can do better, and we can straighten this embarrassment up and have some good things written in the paper about us, and we have been having some good write-ups in the paper. And so, but we as citizens of Mount Carmel need to be proud of our town. And our town right now looks so good with what our guys have put the decorations and things up, and it really looks pretty when you go up Main Street, up and down Main Street, and they do a wonderful job. Our town also is low on crime. There's about 1 in 80 people that's hit with a crime. and with almost 6,000 people, at about 5,500, I guess it is. You can say something about our police department. So that's something. Our school always gets a good name. I was up there with my deaf students up there the last year before I retired, and there's wonderful, excellent teachers up there. We need to get some of those on our committees too, and get them. And I'm like the general there. We bring, and I've said it for 2 years, and we used to it the first. We brought kids in from the schools and the teams in the schools, and did the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'd like to see us use the prayers that we start out with. I'd like to see us use some of our preachers that here in our town that is the leaders of their churches around here, because we've got several churches that the preachers would be glad to come in and pray with us.
Okay. And Miss Williams, are you the best candidate for this office? If so, why?
Yes, I am the best candidate for this office. I have experience in leadership. I have experience in management. I have experience in the political arena. Like I said, been on the board for 4 years. I have a vision for the city to move forward, for us to be a bright and shining example that we can be, and to be a community of people that are proud of their town, proud of what we have to do, with lots of activities, so that we don't have to always go to neighboring cities to be able to accomplish what we want to accomplish, that it's available here in Mount Carmel. I want to see Mount Carmel thrive. I want to see Mount Carmel grow, and we are on the right track. Things are looking up. Things are going very well. Like several have said, we've got some wonderful department heads. We've got a good city manager, we've got a good chief of police, we've got good fire chiefs, we've got good people over our public works. So we've got good things going on for Mount Carmel, and I want to see those continue, and I want to be a part of that.
Okay, and now before we move on to the citizens' questions, I wanted to first give Emily an opportunity to scan through and pick out the ones that work, and also I wanted to give each candidate an opportunity to just have an open comment and just say anything. If there's a question that wasn't asked that there's something that you'd like to comment on, any just kind of open comments or closing comments before we get to the final questions, and we'll go left to right and start with Mrs. Stillwell. Is there any closing comments, anything you wanted to talk about?
I just want to thank you for coming, and our lady here with the Rogers will review, and I want to thank the citizens of Mount Carmel for being patient and enduring what they have gone through for the past 8 to 10 years, and it's a shame what we've went through, and I just want to thank our employees that's with us now for sticking with us.
Okay.
I again want to thank the employees. When we went through COVID, they were excellent employees. They showed up, they did their job. We didn't have people calling in saying, I'm not going to show up because I'm afraid to be exposed to this virus. They were willing to go out and do their job, or policemen or firemen. So I'm very, very proud of Mount Carmel, how well they handled themselves and still continue to handle themselves, because this epidemic is still going on. We're still having lots of cases. We still need to be mindful of the transmission of that, and the old public health nurse is coming out of me, but I want everyone to take care of themselves and be healthy, and I want us to thrive as citizens and not have a lot of illnesses.
Mr. Gibson?
So I'd also like to thank the city for putting this on, as well as for Allison and Jeff for both being here to help get the word out. I really think Mount Carmel has a big opportunity in front of it with the election, with the different options that you have for getting elected for mayor. One of the biggest things that I want to stress is that I am open door. Absolutely want to have an open door policy. Want to be easy to get a hold of. I can be reached via call, text, email, or social media means. I mean, I'm very easy to get a hold of. And if you have questions that didn't get answered tonight, and potentially might not even in the citizens' questions, reach out to me. If you go to votegibson, 4mayor.com, that's votegibson, 4mayor.com, you can send me a question and I'll get back with you just as quick as I can. Because that's the biggest thing that I want to stress is that, you need to be accountable. I think the other two candidates were showing up tonight because I think it's important to be accountable for the citizens to answer their questions, and so that you know who you're putting into office before you do.
Okay. Now, technically, we're on question number 6, so that brings us to Mrs. Stillwell. And as we said in the original rules, these questions are optional. You have an option of whether or not you want to answer them or not, but I'll turn it over to Emily.
Okay. I did come across one good question, so what I'll do is just state the question, and if you want to answer, you can raise your hand and answer. It's up to you. So one of the viewers asked, we want to be in a perfect world, but politics isn't always that. So you do have the ability to lead in a position as a mayor and stand by decisions, even if it goes against a public opinion. So do you have the ability to lead and stand by decisions, even if it goes against the public opinion?
Yes, I think I can stand that on that route, and I have before with students in school, their parents in school, and so yes, I do think that we can vote if it's for the majority of the people that we have to vote for, not just a few here or a few there, but it's for the best of the whole town before we vote on anything.
I would like to answer that. I think we encountered some of that when we went through COVID, as far as some people felt like we closed businesses or closed City Hall too quickly. Some people felt like we closed the library too quickly. Some people felt like, so we did get some feedback from people that felt like that wasn't the right decision. It turned out to be the right decision because it did cut down on cases and did cut down on the spread of it. So yes, I can stand by decisions that may not be always the majority feeling like that's the best thing to do, but if it's the best thing in the long run for the citizens and for the employees, I can stand up to that, yes.
And I also agree with that. That I think that I absolutely think that I can do what would do what's right for the whole, not just for the parts of individuals. And while sometimes it might not be a popular opinion, doing what's right, I think always should take precedent before looking at anything else. It's important to do what's ethical, what's the moral option, whether that's popular or not. It's sometimes you have to make hard decisions and stand by them. And when elected, I absolutely would do that.
Okay, one other question came in that kind of segues off of that. What if it goes against the board opinion?
Repeat that, please.
I guess technically Mrs. Williams is number 7.
Okay.
Repeat that, please.
The first question was, do you have the ability to lead and stand by the decisions even if it's against public opinion? And that's what you answered. So the next question is, do you have the ability to lead and stand by decisions if it goes against the board opinion?
Technically, we are ruled by the board, so it is a democracy. But I have come up against the board before in decisions. You can look at old tapes, and I think Bobo has those, where I stood my ground. I'm city manager, where they wanted to fire the city manager in the past, and I was the lone alderman standing against that. So I can stand when I have to, especially when it's ethical and what is right. I have a very strong moral value, and I will stand by that. I will not vote for something or do something against what morally I believe is right.
I'm like her. I have stood against the board. I have stood against the board several times this past 2 years, and will continue to stand if it's not good for our town. And I'm like Jennifer, I have morals, and I go by my Christian faith, that what my conscience will tell me to do. And of course, you got to also weigh it out and check it out too with what you're standing against them on. and I do. I go down here, probably come down here and worry the fire out of people in the office in here, but they know that I'm gonna check it out before I vote on something.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have no problem kind of expressing my opinion against the board or against, if it was a popular decision. I mean, as we said, we are ruled by democracy, and the mayor's position is only one vote on that board. But I believe in absolutely saying what's right and not what's popular, and doing the right and ethical thing. And it's also, the board might be wrong, and that's also, you've definitely seen that happen in the past. The board gets something wrong, and it's at those times, like Ms. We've said, the lone person that stands up to the people that have a wrong opinion or that are not the best decision for the town. Absolutely, I believe it's important to stand up for what you believe and the people that you represent.
Okay, and there's one more. What is the most important task you will address first as mayor? So if you were elected, what would be your first order of business as mayor?
Mr. Gibson's first this time.
First, the first thing that I would do is look for ways to improve the reputation of the town. To make sure that the meetings are conducted orally and that the infighting is stopped. That's something that I think is the most impressionable thing on the town is the reflection on the board, and that needs to change and have and actually start keeping things on the agenda to get to work, because there's many times that we have opportunities of things that we could be doing in these meetings that they kind of have been let off the agenda. And I think really focusing on having the next steps of furthering that economic development, which for me that would include looking at trying to get a committee together, an economic development and retention committee, getting different personnel. Like to have somebody who's more with a real estate background, financial background, so that we can and different miscellaneous tasks, and so we can work together to find opportunities for development, because eventually, taxes are going to have to go up. Rising costs of insurance, rising costs of inflation, and cost of living expenses. There's only going to be so much money that can be cut out of this budget. We have to have economic development to offset those new rising costs, and that would be absolutely the first thing that I would focus on when elected, would be to how are we going to get the road path to get these new businesses in here, to get this so we don't have to look at raising taxes on the citizens.
Mrs. Stillwell?
Like to answer.
Okay.
I will also look at economic development. I will work with First Tennessee Development District, which is a regional group that works on this kind of thing and has federal monies, federal grants, those kind of things available for us to be able to lobby in. This is a regional approach to economic development in the area, not just in Mount Carmel. It's all the Tri-Cities and all the areas of Northeast Tennessee. So I work closely with them in hopefully moving businesses into this area. Also, I think one of the most things is to look at our services and to be sure again that we are doing what we need to do in our services to the public, and that we are also being able to meet the demands of what needs to be done. The sewer department was mentioned, and that is going to be a big thing in the future that we're going to have to look at. We're going to have to make some decisions on the board about that, and we're going to have to move forward on that. Currently, they're doing a study. We don't have the results of this study finalized yet. Once that gets finalized, that's something that the board's definitely going to have to look at in the mayor in the upcoming months. That's going to have to be addressed as soon as possible.
Well, I want to make sure that we keep the form of government that we've got now, and not the strong mayor government, because we have an excellent city manager that keeps the tabs on what's spending and what's not. And I want to see the town have more services and things to do for all the people in our town. I just want to mention that even though our library is closed on certain days, you can go right up there and park your car and get on Wi-Fi if you need to, and so that if you don't want to go in or whatever, they will give you the password to get into the Wi-Fi, and that's a plus right there for what they're doing up there right now.
They just this week opened full hours, so they're open just like they were before.
So some people might still not be comfortable going in,
Right.
you know, and doing it, and I think that's excellent that they've got the that they can give them the Wi-Fi password and that they can sit and feel comfortable in their cars.
How, you got any more questions?
We can do probably one more.
Is everybody comfortable with one more question?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to kind of combine two of them that came in because some have mentioned bringing in youth to do the pledge at meetings. What are other ways that you will reach out to the youth of Mount Carmel as well as other residents in the community, so youth and adults? What are ways that you're going to reach out?
We can start with Ms. Stillwell if you're ready.
Well, we have an excellent city park. There's good walking facilities to be up there. The youth there's basketball goals, there's volleyball nets, there's all kinds of things that they can get up there doing these wonderful picnic shelters up there. And it's a golden opportunity to go up there. We have a wonderful, if you've not been up there, we have a wonderful memorial up there for our people who have served in our services and our armed services. And that's an excellent opportunity sitting right up there. It's not that, and people just need to go up there and take a look and see what a good park we do have, and they keep it clean.
I agree with Mr. Gibson on having more activities once the pandemic is over and having some open air concerts, things like that on Main Street. I think that will help bring the cohesiveness of the community together and bring all groups together, not just older individuals, but families and young people and everything. So I'd like to see us have an active Main Street activities for everyone there.
And I also agree that the city park is a good area that we can have more programs and things with children. Absolutely, we would want to continue the partnership with Sir Gordonsville and Churchill to make sure that rec league activities stay available for the children. I think sports are a very important thing, and you can learn a lot more life lessons on a ball field than people give credit to. I also think that we need to work with First Tennessee Developmental District for looking at grants and things for our library, so that we can continue to make sure that both children and young adults or older adults have access to current technology, especially with children. Children will need that technology in the workforce in the next 15 to 20 years. So I think it's important that we make sure that that everyone has the opportunity to have access to, like Ms. Stillwell said, Wi-Fi for that. I know with school being done remotely, that's been a very important thing, and making sure that the children have access to technology and adults as well, so that they can be better productive in the workforce or for more long-term goals with them.
Okay, how are we doing, Emily? You got any more?
I think that's it.
Okay.
I think that we've had picnics before for citizens and give hot dogs out and take chips and all that stuff. That needs to come back to when all this passes over that we can. And our workforce, they used to do a summer. Of course, we couldn't do it this year, but they used to have a summer picnic for our employees, and that'd be good too, right there. But got a golden opportunity to, like she said, to have more outdoor things that goes on down on Main Street.
Okay, well, I think that we've got it whooped. If we've got about 51 people watching at home, if you came in the middle and didn't see this from the beginning, when I finish this live stream, the complete video will be there. You can go back and watch it from the beginning. Once again, we want to thank Mrs. Pat Stillwell, Mrs. Jennifer Williams, and Mr. John Gibson for coming. And we hope that everybody gets out and votes. But early voting begins Wednesday, October 14th. So get out there, vote, and vote. And we're going to go ahead and sign off.
I'd like to say thank you for all the people who's watched.
Yes,
We've had a pretty good crowd online though. So
Thank you.
all right, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you, everybody.